Seal Podcast, episode number 176 for May the 19th, 2023. My name is Fraser. I'm joined on my left by Dave.
Hello.
And on my right by Neil.
Hello.
Hello, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Good. The traditional fat on Friday.
Fat Fridays.
Friday.
Yeah. Sleepy Fat Fridays.
Yeah, I did have a little shut-eye. About 8 o'clock, I was doing some bits and bobs on the computer, and I was definitely like, had some tunes playing. So didn't have much sleep last night. Just shut my eyes for a minute, and then woke had that little bolt up right when I was like, oh, definitely fell asleep for a few seconds there.
Nice. Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
That's just like a reset. Very nice. All right. Well, looking here down the list, looks like we have a lot of stuff coming up. Well, I say a lot of stuff, but there's these one sentence questions. The one sentence questions that we get don't look like much, and they can end up evolving into half an hour nonsense. So, as per the norm, do you want to start us off with the football?
No,
Neil?
Not really.
Yeah, you do. Come on.
I don't want to talk about football this week.
Did you not do so good this week?
Well, there's that, and there's someone else did really well. So fucking hell. Here we go then. I have to speak about nonsense beforehand. So rounding up last week's weekend's fixtures. So Leeds and Newcastle kicked off this week's fixtures with a 2-2 draw on Saturday lunchtime. Aston Villa beat Spurs 2-1. Chelsea drew with Forest 2-2. Crystal Palace beat Bournemouth 2-0. Man United beat Wolves 2-0. And Southampton confirmed their relegation, losing 2-0 at home to Fulham. On Sunday, Brentford beat West Ham 2-0. West Ham basically played second 11 because they were focusing on their Europa Conference League fixtures. Everton, yeah. Everton lost 3-0 at home to Man City, and then Brighton refused to do the Heimlich manoeuvre on Arsenal, beating them 3-0 at the Emirates.
Ooh.
Liverpool piled the misery on Leicester on Monday night, winning 3-0, and our double game week as Newcastle and Brighton closed the week out on Thursday, with the home side winning 4-1. So
I think that Leicester result, that could be the result that keeps Christian's Forest up, I think.
Well,
we'll
see.
It was a good result for Christian.
It was
a good result for Forest.
It was. There's not just Christian that's the Forest fan in the.
For other Forest fans, I don't care about Christian.
Anyway, the players who got all the points last week. Callum Wilson. He rewarded those who brought him in for the double game week. Scored 24 points.
Was he the highest scoring player?
He was the highest scoring player. This is what I'm doing. This bit. This is the highest scoring players of the game week. I tend to release a few out. I don't know if you've noticed that every week.
Yeah, but just want to confirm. So he would be.
He'd be a good choice for captain.
He would be a good choice by people who really know what they're doing.
Okay, yeah. Moving on, Ilkay Gundogan. Don't suppose anyone had him. Who scored 19 points. Pervis Estupiñán, 17 points. Ebe Eze and Curtis Jones both scored 16, and Raheem Sterling, a Chelsea player, scored 15 points. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Dennis Undav both scored 13 points, despite the latter scoring an own goal in the second match. And Mo Salah and Taiwo Awoniyi both scored 12. And obviously there were other players scoring points, but that's the ones that I picked out to talk about. Some of them popular choices, some of them not so much. So on to the bad news. Terrible. Top scoring on the week. The average being 65 points. Look at this smug bastard on the fucking screen. Fraser Moore's got 127 points last week.
I didn't even realise the average was 65. So I scored more than double the average.
Nearly double the average, yeah.
That was double the average, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know where your maths is, but 65 times 2 is not 127.
Yeah, you're right. Nearly. Sorry, folks, I'll let you down.
Yeah. He's up to 2,191 points and definitely has me looking over my shoulder. I've got to be honest, the way my week went.
Can you imagine?
No,
I was
I
eyeing
don't
up
want to
10th.
imagine.
I was eyeing up 10th spot, and now I'm in 3rd, eyeing up top spot.
Right.
Like, I can see you.
You can see me.
Brilliant. Can you imagine if I pull out the bag?
Shut the fuck
my
up.
God.
My wife Lou came second on the week, 116 points. She did bench boost. And Luis Estevez, 115 points last week.
Well,
with a
Lewis and
59.
Lou both did Wilson as captain as well.
Yeah. Obviously know what they're doing.
It was all down to just if you had to put someone in, he just the form. It was calling. It was calling to me.
I couldn't decide what to do last week. Anyway, and I paid the price. So the top 3 goes as follows. It is still me somehow top on 2,229 points. I scored 63 last week. Paul Davies also had an iffy week, but he did score more than me. He got 69 last week. He's on 2,224. That's 5 points between first and second. And then Fraser, aforementioned, up to 3rd, 2,191.
I'm being mentioned in this part now. That is amazing.
All right, shut up. You won't be mentioned in the next bit, okay? Because it's the cup. All right. So at last I checked, it hadn't updated the cup for the semi-finals. My daughter lost out to Nathan, 58 points to 70. I beat Michael Zodder, 63 to 43. Christian finally ended Marty's cup run, 62 to 54. And Michael Redmond beat Sam, 76 to 68.
Redmond for the cup.
I don't know. Like I say, I don't know who if it's. Let's see. Is it? How do I check?
Do they have the fixtures for the cups now?
No, it's still not on there. So
you could do the double. No pressure.
I don't know what to do this week either, so I'm probably going to do shit again this week. I keep looking at transfers. I wanted Man United players, but I had it sorted. Rashford back in for Luis Diaz. Then I hear Rashford's ill. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
So now I don't know what to do. I can't. I've got one free transfer again this week, and I'm like at the point of just like I might as well just fuck it off this week and have 2 free transfers for the last week of the season. But I've only got David De Gea from Man United, and they've got 2 games this week.
Do you want some advice from a reigning champion?
No.
Don't spend points. Put your faith in your team.
Well,
you've still got a strong team compared to most. Yeah, and banking that extra one for next week, I think is a great idea.
Yeah, I look at my team and I don't really like it. I don't like the fact that my
Tinkering's
going to
cost you.
I'm not
Tinkering's
going
to cost you, man.
But I look at the Liverpool players I've got Luis Diaz and Diogo Jota, and I had both of them score in the same game a few weeks ago, and basically done fuck all since. And I'm like, I just know, I can't remember. They've got Aston Villa this week. It's not an easy fixture, but they're at Anfield, and I'm like, they could just fucking go crazy at any point. Liverpool, I don't know.
I think that's the thing with a lot of these players, and it's been very, very true with the Liverpool players, is that you just like Salah is one of them, classic.
Well, he's been a banker.
And yeah, but he wasn't a banker at the start, right?
Yeah, but he scored versus the highest scoring midfielder in the game, isn't he, or something this year?
Yeah, but still, he didn't deliver for the first whatever few weeks, which was the problem. But they come round. They eventually come round. These players, right? They're not going to be. They won't have droughts forever. Well, of course, they're going to stop having droughts as soon as you take them out, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to take Jota out for Wilson last week. Didn't do it because I was like, they've got Leicester. And Leicester have been absolutely shocking. But he didn't even really play. Like Jota didn't play last game. But Nunez is sounding like he's not playing this weekend. So that leaves Gakpo in about 15 players that they could play, I guess, in their place. But yeah, Diaz and Jota are basically playing the same position. That's the problem I've got. And I'm like, if I take one out, the other one's going to the one I take out is going to get all the points. I'm not going to be really screwed.
Yep. Stuff.
I think I fucked it, lads.
Mate, you're in first place. You're all right. You're all right. Hold steady. Hold your ground. What do they say? Hold the line. Hold the
Hold the
line.
door.
yeah.
Hold the door. Spoilers for Game of Thrones.
Dave, I think you're in a safe position.
I think
not to
Dave's
finish
just fucking
before
given
I-
up.
Well, the main
Actually,
thing
I've
is,
made a few changes today. Actually,
Oh.
oh, good stuff.
yeah.
You just got to
Got any
hold on.
chips
Not
left? Got any chips left to play?
I've got a bench boost.
All right. Well, we might want to. Well, it depends on your team, but this is the week to play a bench boost probably. Because there's a couple of doubles: Man City, Man United, Brighton, and Chelsea.
Yeah, I've got Man U and Chelsea players.
Chelsea?
I brought in a Chelsea player for this week.
What the fuck? Okay, I'm
brought
feeling
Sterling in.
better now. I'm feeling better.
Mate, I had to do something, and I didn't know what to do.
I'm not sure I would have done that.
It's the only thing right now. Well, for me anyway, the only thing is going to be a differential, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, but I've still captain Haaland. Can resist that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure about Haaland.
What do you think?
The
It's giving
safe
up now.
No, I don't know. No, I don't think because literally by the time Man City play Sunday, they might have already won the league, and they've got obviously if they've won the league by Sunday, they're in the Champions League final. If you didn't know, they smashed Real Madrid 4-0 the other night or whatever it was. Absolutely destroyed them. It's been coming a while because Real Madrid, they got their pensions out, mate. Some of them, they're well old. So I think they finally got found out. And so then they've got the FA Cup as well, so they could do a treble this year. And obviously, if they've won the league by Sunday, why would you risk your players getting injured?
Yeah, but Haaland might want to play. He's on for just keeping going on that goal.
Yeah, but he's not the boss, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think he'll get some minutes, but I don't think he's playing 180 minutes.
Yeah, maybe
over
not.
the next two
maybe
games.
Grealish. Maybe they might roll Grealish out. One would hope.
Oh, fucking that didn't cheer me up at all when Grealish came on for 10 minutes or whatever the other day. I picked the Man City players at the wrong time of the year. Well, apart from Haaland, obviously, because I've had 8 majors. But
All right.
Yep,
That's football.
yeah, there'll be more football in a minute.
All right. Is that your football bit done?
That's the FPL bit done. Unless you want to talk about it some more.
No. Do we move on then to the listener stuff?
It's up to you. You're the boss. Or if you've forgotten how to do this.
Okay,
since you had a
first of
couple
all,
weeks
I'm
off.
I'm not the boss. I haven't had a couple of weeks off for ages now. That was
It's at least a week.
At least a week I've been back. Listener stuff we have. Master Blackthorn says, why are devs and the industry as a whole still pushing for real-time ray tracing in games? Turning it on cripples performance in most games, and the difference in visuals can vary from looks a bit nicer to can't tell any difference. When even people with £1,000 plus GPUs, in brackets humble brag, can't run games with it turned on without adding in tech like DLSSR, FSR, or frame generation, what do the rest of the other PC owners do? GPUs at the top of the Steam hardware charts are all relatively low end. What are devs thinking? Sorry, it's a long one. Cheers, guys. Have a good show.
What did you say there? Sorry, it's a long one. What?
Ooer.
All right, okay. Just thought I'd get that in. Nice. I like a lure.
This is interesting because this is sort of, I think, I'm not sure where I think Dave may sit somewhere in the middle. I've forgotten what.
I
where
upgraded
Dave,
for 68 XT, 6800 XT.
that's pretty high end, right?
Pretty high end.
Yeah, so
Mine's
we're on a
pretty
similar. Me and Dave are on a similar generation, but he's on AMD and I'm on Nvidia.
I'm living in olden times now with my 1066, which still runs things like a champ. At
1066.
1060.
Does that automatically come out that 6 when you say 1060?
It's a 1060 space 6 gig.
6 gig, mate. That is going to start seriously struggling, I think.
I think you said that.
If
you say that to me every time I mention
but if you
it.
start, with the more and more modern games that come out, that is really going to struggle. It's
Right,
the RAM that's fucking things up, I think.
Yeah, but this is what Master Blackthorn is still saying, right? If you look into the Steam hardware charts, I think my card is number 1 up there.
Yeah. Dave, you drinking a bottle of wine from the bottle? It just looks huge. It looks huge.
It does. It actually does look like a bottle of wine. Yeah. No, I think developers are after a crisis. They're chasing the crisis. They're chasing the game that people want to build a rig to, and they've got to make it look really pretty to start with. And yeah, I don't know, but then just don't optimize it.
Everything can be dumbed down to work on my machine, right?
Can it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can turn off all the bells and whistles
Pretty
and the
sure.
yeah.
Saying that, I did struggle with Halo, the new Halo in the open world parts, even with it all turned down.
Well, that actually ran
Right.
quite well, I think, on PCs. I think everything is tailored to the consoles, to be fair, like big AAAs, and they have ray tracing now, and that's why devs are doing ray tracing, because it's there and they can use it. Obviously, it was getting pushed by NVIDIA early. They brought out ray tracing cards. I had one, a 2080, but it wasn't good enough to do ray tracing. It just ran ridiculously slow on the 2080 20 series. At 40, it might have been all right at 1080. I don't know. I still don't think it would have been particularly good. I've now got a 3080, which was really near enough £1,000 graphics card at the time. Wasn't supposed to be, but that was in the drought. And that is okay at running ray tracing. It depends on the game. Like a game I've been playing a lot, I've been switching ray tracing on and off and as it's had patches, and it finally feels like it's running all right. And ray tracing, it is good when it works. Like there's different what things they can use it for though. Like it is obviously reflections of the things that most people kind of are aware of, but they're I don't know. There's all these other weird things they use it for, but lights do look better. Lighting does look better with ray tracing on. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Looks a bit more natural.
When I got my card, I instantly put Cyberpunk on, switched it on, and to be honest, it looked fantastic, but it didn't run great. I played it for like half hour with it on, went, oh, this is really pretty, and then switched it off, and then went back to enjoying it at 60 frames a second at 1440p. So yeah, it's there, and it can look great, and there's times and places, but when you need
You can,
smooth
if you switch it
gameplay,
on and switch it off, like if a game will let you do that, you can see the difference in that game quite clearly. I think usually. Like
but
you're literally
for
I
me,
will see a
yeah.
literal reflection of what I can see on my screen. Whereas if you turn it off, it'll just be like a rough representation of what your reflection would look like. It's all like blurry and it's not really like a reflection.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question because it sort of makes me wonder what the business process must be like, and I guess it's far more complicated than our pea brains can sort of,
I suspect they've
grips
got a
with
minimum
here.
spec of what they want. Like
They know what the market's on. Well, they know what's in the market, right?
Yeah.
Who's running what. That information that Steam has is right in front of all these guys, and they know exactly. They have to be able to play on X percentage amount of machines.
I think that's where the problems are coming now, because the consoles are way beyond the minimum of the most common usage on PC. The PS5 and Xbox Series X are way beyond those, like the most common PC setups now.
Yeah, that's the good point, right? Yeah.
And that's been driven by like market forces, i.e., what's it called, cryptocurrency mining and things like that. That's things outside of the
outside of their
game
control.
developers' control.
Yeah,
They can't specify. They can't dictate how much computer and computing components cost.
Right. So if a game is in development for 5 years, well, look what happened to crypto. It like destroyed the market in 2 to 3 years for normal PC
Thing is,
users.
that's nothing to do with consoles.
No, but what I'm
that's
saying
to
is
do
like
with-
what Dave is saying, I think, is that, that drove up the pricing. So, but I'm sitting on a 1060 still, not because I don't want a better graphics card, because I flatly refuse to pay the inflated prices, right? So I'm another statistic.
But you're
that's
just
kept...
never going to get one then.
Right,
they're not inflated anymore. That's how much they cost. There's no like crypto market driving the cost anymore.
Right, but they're still not cheap, right?
No.
And as me, as someone who has money, right, I'm not loaded, but if I really wanted to, I could go out and buy a graphics card. But I'm quite happy to not go and spend that amount of money. Whereas I would rather go and put the money onto a PlayStation 5 and get the whole package rather than just get a card.
You could buy a
right?
PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2 for the price of a £1,000 graphics card. So
Right.
if you were wanting to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's that console.
The console market, like in terms of game sales, dwarfs PC still. Like in terms of the games that are going to console, sell way more on console than they do on PC. Like PC has all of that and a lot of other stuff, obviously, and piracy. And
Is it a good reminder? Is it a nice stark reminder of like the way it used to be that the PC master race are not as much of a master race as they like to think they are, right?
I don't think there's ever really
the whole
been
market.
Like the market's always been console driven in terms like AAA space for sure.
I am just wondering whether I think I certainly think perhaps I've forgotten that over the few years. I haven't really been a console person for a few years now, and maybe sometimes it's easy to forget that there are however many millions of PlayStations flying off the shelf every week.
Was it PS4 did something like 120 million or something, is it?
Could be.
And that's 120 million. Well, it's not all the same spec because they had PS4 Pros and shit, but the developers know exactly what they're doing on those PS4s.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And same with
and you made a point
beating PS4 apparently as far as it's got. They've done 25 million PS5s or something now, 30 million or something stupid.
And that was with a massive shortage when they started. So. Yeah.
And you made a point, I think, Neil, before about how these consoles work in a different way with running the graphics. Getting the data to the graphics data onto the thingy, which does the thingy and touches or whatever, right?
For sure,
but they don't
where
have to
it's
jump.
stored.
Right, it's not jumping around so much within the system, right? So it's more.
I feel
optimized.
like I need more RAM on my PC. I feel like it's the RAM. More I read is as people with 32 gigabytes of RAM having less issues now running the games. And I'm like,
we've been on 16 for a long time. 16's been
but they still recommend 8 is the minimum. I'm like, I've had 16 for fucking ever, as far as I can. Well, not forever, but a long time. And now I feel I don't know if that's enough. Is that where my problem is? I don't know. But my game that has been running pretty dodgy, it does appear to be running okay in the main now, since it has another patch this week. So,
all right, Master Blackthorn, that's a great question. Thanks very much. It's good to hear from you. I think that's the first question we've had of him or her. I'm going to assume it's a him.
We know who it is.
Who is it? I've forgotten.
It's Mark.
Oh, Mark? Which Mark?
Mark from former Bosswave.
Oh, yes, sorry, of course.
Bosswave, yeah.
Elusive Man.
Yes. So you do know.
Okay, I do, yeah. Paul W says, do you find after... This one could go on for just as long. Paul W says, do you find after eating Sugar Puffs your wee smells odd?
Is this really going to be a long answer?
No, I hope not. I do have time constraints tonight as usual, so I hope not. But I don't eat Sugar Puffs, so I can't answer.
But
I don't eat Sugar Puffs.
No, I don't. I haven't eaten a Sugar Puff in I don't even know. Felt like there was a time you couldn't even get Sugar Puffs because they were too naughty. Too much sugar.
Yeah, probably. They are naughty, that's for sure.
Hit with the sugar tax.
Yeah, quite like Sugar Puffs.
There's other things that make your Wii smell, though. That's for sure.
Oh no. That's the end of that question. Column. So
That's a
column
completely
said-
different question.
No, we're not
Is
going
it?
down
It's
that
only like
rabbit hole.
asparagus and things like that. You know, that
Well,
definitely makes
I
it
mean,
smell
that goes
weird.
without
Antibiotics,
saying, right?
they always make
Here
the
we
Wii
go.
smell
He's
weird.
off again. Like, no,
Yeah.
shutting it down. Friend of the show, Column, says, did you pick up the new Zelda game? If so, what's your thoughts on it? Does 30 frames per second gaming bother you? Also, predictions on when Switch 2 will be announced. Well, I did pick up the new Zelda game, so I'm going to talk about that in a bit. So my thoughts on it will be coming.
I
Does
haven't
30
bought it.
frames per second gaming bother you? No, it does not, unless I'm playing a Twitch shooter
Or
or
a
a shooter.
racer. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't play racers, but there you go.
I definitely prefer
Racers.
higher frame rates on all games, but
Yes.
I can live with lower frame rates on those types of games.
You can slum it.
Yeah, like if I'm playing a deck builder, I'm not that bothered about 60 or 120 frames per second or whatever.
I
but,
think
you know,
Zelda is running 30 frames and it's dropping
If-
some as well. There's no
ish.
doubt about that.
30-ish.
Does it bother me? None at all. Not at all.
Depends how far you get into it and where you get at. Apparently.
Predictions on when Switch 2 will be announced?
Well, you made a prediction for 2023 to say that a new handheld, but you didn't define what handheld.
I think that was anybody though.
Well,
wasn't
does that count as the ROG Ally? Does that count? Are we talking like, does that account? Because we've had one.
No.
It's a portable PC, the handheld PC. It's not Steam Deck.
Well, there's
Runs
loads of
Windows
10
11.
penny.
Yeah, it's true. But it is new, this one. To be fair.
Yeah, it doesn't really count as major though. I think major indicates like Sony, Nintendo.
That's what you think.
Sega.
We'll argue it at
Steam
next year.
Yeah.
If it turns out to be a massive seller and devs start
I can't see a new Switch 2 coming out this year.
I
think the Switch is only just starting to get its legs.
What are you talking about?
No, wait, no way. No way. That thing needs to be replaced and soon.
That needs fucking replacement joints. Needs a new hips and new knees and everything.
Needs to be beef. We need the next iteration of Switch as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I reckon
maybe
I reckon
maybe end of the year. Yeah,
what, updated version or a new
updated. Needs to be beefier.
Updated, right.
I think the way that the Switch is going, it's going to be like they can't do a whole new iteration, right?
No.
That'll be the first time they haven't done something the same. Well, they haven't.
Well,
haven't
yeah, but
changed
if you
completely.
look at it, won't be the first time. I mean, they went through the DSs and the 3DSs and the 2DSs and things like that, where they were able to sort of make sort of slight generational changes, but still keep everyone still has access to everything that they, that backwards compatibility. I think they have to have that.
Apart from the new 3DS, which fucked everyone with a 3DS on about 2 games.
Not loads of stuff though.
No, it was literally about 2 games that came out.
Oh, it was only 2 games? Oh, okay, right, yeah. Yeah, so maybe end of the year, I think.
Yeah, I reckon it needs to happen because it's. Well, I won't be buying a Switch anytime soon. Put it that way. We've got one. Doesn't get used.
Mine's going through a resurgence now, luckily. So.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you, Colin. Yeah.
Thank you, Colin. It says, "What's the most recent game that has been very disappointing?" Or to put it another way, do I play Redfall or give High on Life another go? What was High on Life? I've forgotten what that was.
That was
the what's his face? The Rick and Morty guy.
Oh yeah.
Roland.
You know what?
Royland.
I would probably play Redfall. From what I heard from the veteran gamers this week, they all enjoyed it.
They play together.
Chinny played co-op, I think. I would imagine that Duke and Stu,
probably
being in the no friendos, they are probably played on their own. Do they listen to this?
I haven't listened to that bit. I've listened to the start of it, but I haven't got as far as them playing Redfall.
From what I understand, it's actually, when you scratch the surface of Redfall, it's got a half decent game in there. I don't think High on Life was that great a game, from what I understand.
Chinny liked it.
I think High on Life was
Chin. He liked it.
Yeah, High on Life was okay. It was
got
a
old
good
quick,
start. but the comedy, the jokes on it.
Well,
Oh, very
I've played half an hour of Redfall and I've played none of High in Life, so
Oh.
I can't recommend either of those really. Maybe I'll play
Oh.
some more Redfall in the future.
I think both are
uninstalled
free on
it.
Xbox, so
Yeah.
why not?
Well, I've got Game Pass for like a fucking another 8-10 months or something stupid, so maybe I'll squeeze it in somewhere.
What's your most recent disappointing game, Fraser?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure anything's really disappointed me. I can give you I can give you something that I was going to say something maybe like Psychonauts 2. But that didn't really disappoint me. I just didn't like it as much as I thought I would like it.
Is that not disappointing then?
I guess in a way, but it was still a good game. I think I think there was still a good game in there.
It just wasn't for you.
Just wasn't for me at
well,
the time.
that's your disappointing game then. That's you for you personally. It was disappointing that you didn't like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if any other.
It's definitely seems like it's got a pretty good reputation. That game. I ain't played it, so because I ain't played the first one, so I wasn't that bothered. I play games for
anyone else?
not long.
Anyone else got one?
I can't think of anything that's actually disappointing, other than I wasn't that fussed about Redfall when I played it. But
I wasn't really excited.
I was already into something else when I played it, so I was like, I ain't really got time for this. I'm playing something else that's actually good. So,
well, I did have a little thing, didn't I? Every week, I'd announce my most disappointing game because looking at the hours spent and
how much you bought.
Yeah. No, I can't get to it.
No, I'd have to go and have a look because I've refunded a load of games over the last year, but I can't remember which ones they were. We'd have to do some homework. We'd actually have to work on these questions before we came on the show, like some sort of professional.
We've had another question in, by the way.
Oh, here we go. Come on, we gotta get this show done and over with. Thank you, it's appreciate it. Mark.
Where are we?
Another Mark. There's a lot of Marks, aren't there?
2.
Mark MS Rangers said no. There's other Mark. Irish Mark too.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, 3. This is a lot.
Well, it just went up by 50%. There you go. How's that for numbers? Mark MS Rangers says, "Evening seals. You know what's coming next. Which letter is silent in the word scent, as in nasal? Scent. Which letter is silent? Is it the S or the C?"
Smell.
Well, how do you say monetary value of the American dollar?
The 100th of a dollar.
Cent.
Yeah, it's a cent.
What about
only
mail?
C though.
What if you're going to push mail from one place to another? Then you have sent it.
Yes. So I guess it's neither then, or neither, to start another argument.
Or it's spelt specifically so you can visually see the difference between sending an email or if it's a monetary value. Yeah.
But I did actually look up for this because apparently it's neither or neither. But the SC digraph comes before an E or an I. It's a S sound, as it does in scent. It's what typically have roots in the Old French or Greek languages. So there you go.
All right.
Don't want to make a scene or, get into the science of it.
I love the case
because this
where
scintillating conversation,
the acquiescence,
might have to cut
amazing.
it up with some scissors.
Oh,
that was a load of other words with SC in just say sis. So there you go. But I just read off a list.
Acquiescent. I think that's relevant to.
Yes, that's definitely the same sound. It was an Oasis song.
That's deferring to your knowledge or something, isn't it? I don't know. I can't remember. I don't use that word very often.
Yeah, it's not a common one.
What happens if you eat yourself?
Ask Prince.
Will you disappear or grow twice as big?
Well, you can't ask Prince, obviously. Do we need an answer there?
No. Do glass blowers get a pain in their stomach if they inhale?
Oh, can I play that actually? Will this come through?
I don't know. Have you got a soundboard now?
There's a soundboard, isn't there?
Please don't
Got that.
turn us into a soundboard podcast.
You forgot to announce the fact that it is a PANE, not pain.
I was hoping I wouldn't have to, but
There you go.
he says thank you and good night.
Very good.
Thanks
He'll
for
be
the
here all
changes.
week, folks.
Very good.
Lord has a quiz.
Do you want a couple more questions quickly?
Go on then.
Well, a question. Major Revenge, aka formerly known as John Mouse, says, "For once in my life, I have a serious question. Why do you podcast? I love your show, but just wondered." Well, personally, I've got fuck all else to do in my life.
Yes.
I don't know. We enjoyed each other's company so much, and
Yeah.
but we became really good friends playing video games that we thought, fuck it, why not? And it was mainly Fraser's idea.
Yes.
Yeah, it's his fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, I podcast because I reckon it's because I moved from England to here, and and I don't know. I have just listed that podcasting was just becoming something that I just thought I want to do that. I think I can do that, and I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's a laugh, isn't it? A bit of a laugh.
Yeah, and it was nice when it finally. So I've done a few podcasts or whatever, but it was nice when we were playing together so much, and it was just easy going. That was like, oh yeah,
We
okay,
was having a laugh most of the time.
We was having a laugh, yeah. Because we don't talk much during the week, if at all.
No, not really. Fucking can't stand you both, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, I've never liked him.
But I suppose that's it as well, isn't it? It's we continue to podcast because we don't play that many games online together anymore. But it's still nice to catch up with each other and talk about what we're playing.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And we just so happen to broadcast it to whoever listens.
Yeah, we get on all right. We all have English is hard sometimes, but we all generally
It's
have
at the end of the
ability
week.
we all generally have the ability to communicate. But I'll tell you what, and this is nothing. John knows what I'm talking about here. It's fucking easy for us. Seems to be quite easy for us to get together and do it, right? And John, I'm sure John knows this from his podcast. It's hard to get guys together to do it regularly, and so I feel that I've struck gold here with Dave and Neil being two guys.
Couple of losers have got fuck all else to do in their life.
Couple of losers, just like myself, in the no friendo zone, but who get together and can and it sounds cliche, but can get it done, right? And so there is a satisfaction that you look at the number and you go, holy shit, we've done 176 episodes of this, right? We've been going for nearly 4 years. Is it 4 years now?
Is it?
I think it could be 4 years now.
Fucking hell. That is mad.
Right.
That is mad, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just good that we sort of motivate
Hopefully
each
one day
other
someone will listen.
That would be good. One day we might see an uptick in those numbers. I go tell my mum she doesn't have to keep downloading it to her all her iPad and iPhone and all that stuff. But yeah, it's good, and again, we get questions from people like John and interaction, and just knows when somebody comes and says hey, I listened to your show and I really enjoy it. I mean, that just makes it all worthwhile, right?
That means we have to do another week when someone says that.
So it's it's great, It's it really does feel like a social, and what we have going now with the football, I am finding it fucking difficult to talk this week. I'm so shot that
What have you been
excuse
doing?
me. I'm just knackered.
Being up late
mate.
all night playing that game.
No, I went to bed yesterday at 8:30.
Fucking hell.
Exactly.
I might have to stop this podcast.
Anyway, yeah, it's all right. I dragged my carcass off to record this tonight. Off the bed. Okay, what else we got? Any more questions? Thanks, John.
I did read out to you already the comment from Kyle. Do you want to read that or not? It's up to you.
Oh yeah, go and read that.
He says,
That's what makes it worthwhile.
This is a bit like what an answer to John, really, I suppose. He says, "Have a good show." He's out on the piss. Love the show, and I mean that sincerely. So thank you very much, Carl. He says he owes us a game each. Name it. He doesn't owe us a game. So
Yeah, he does. I'm gonna get something out of this podcast if he kills me. I can't live on the $4 we made last year.
well, we had a little extra payment. I told you we were going to get another one. So
Yeah, you're right. I called that wrong. We have been paid out by Amazon again. It has started well this season. Season 5.
season 5, episode
Something.
Yeah.
Lord, okay, thanks, Kyle. Have a good piss up. Lord says, okay, this week's quiz is question number 1.
Non-gaming related, I'm assuming this is, because if either that, I haven't got a fucking clue what this first one is.
What is cynophobia?
What are you doing?
Cynophobia, spelled
With your book?
C-Y. This is why I write down the answers. Write down.
you read the
answers.
answers that you've already researched.
Yeah, do that. You think I take the time to go read all this stuff before I read it? Cynophobia, C-Y-N-O phobia. Anybody know what that is?
I think Fraser should know this.
I don't. I
How
have
do
no
you know
idea.
then, Dave?
I do because I've
Is it a fear
yeah.
of speaking in front of a camera?
No, it's a fear of dogs, I believe. Funny it came up because I used to take my dog to work, and I was told I'm not allowed to take my dog into work because people are afraid of dogs,
They are.
and that's cynophobia. I think.
Not a fear of films.
Not that's cynophobia.
All right, Dave's saying fear of dogs.
I
Well,
think
I can't
fear
argue with
of
that. That sounds sensible.
Okay,
I've no
should we
better
just go with
answers than
Dave's
that.
answer? Is it a team effort?
It is now.
It could
Okay.
be completely wrong. I'm sure.
I was thinking
looked that up.
about it was people with pins all stuck in their heads, but that was Cenobites, not Cinnabites.
Oh, God. Dude,
Is
how
it
long
the
were you
fear-
working on that one?
I haven't. As you can tell, because it wasn't funny. Maybe it's the fear of the letter S and C next to each other because there's only a C. I don't know.
Maybe. Question number 2. How many countries still have shilling as currency?
Is it 4?
Bonus bonus point if you can say which countries. A clue because I am a nice guy. There are 4. Oh, okay. Right. So that's all right. 4.
So we've got to name the countries, obviously. Then
Nigeria.
Oh no! Is you know that, or is that sounded?
Oh,
like,
don't.
Is it Malta or something like that?
No, Malta's Spanish.
It's not, is it? It's its own country, Malta.
Malta will put down. Nigeria, Malta. Come on, we just need 2 more.
I was thinking of like Tobago and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Tobago and what?
Oh my God! All right, Boris Johnson.
Tobago and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Tobago. Jesus.
What about Tobago? What is that?
I don't know what that is.
Isn't that a drink?
That's umbongo.
Oh right, you know that.
Yeah.
One more.
Is Gibraltar a country?
Gibraltar's a country.
Is it, or is it a weird state?
It might be a principality actually, but
yeah, I don't fucking know.
All right,
what about Singapore? What about Singapore? Has that got something?
Singapore's got dollar, hasn't it?
Yeah, the Singapore dollar. I'm thinking of another like British
colony.
Yeah, like Zimbabwe.
St Kitts and Nevis.
St Kitts and Nevis.
Well, do you want to change Gibraltar to St Kitts?
I don't know. I don't know. So I'm here at the fantasy football again. I can't change an answer because it might get it wrong.
All right. Okay. Who wants to give us some answers then?
I just gave you a load of answers. You just pick 4.
Oh, hang on.
No.
We've got another question yet.
Got another question.
Oh, question number 3. Which 2 countries have not missed one of the modern day Olympics? Which 2 countries have not missed one of the modern day Olympics?
When did modern day started in the 1900s? Yes, I assume.
I
1912.
possibly, I don't know.
So
Give us two countries.
So USA
you
and
think
Germany.
no, because they boycotted one. Surely they must have boycotted one. And it was in Russia or something, or the USSR.
Didn't they? Didn't a lot of them boycott? Well, America
the
definitely
World
did
War
not
II,
boycott.
there was they were at the one where Hitler was at, obviously because of Jesse Owens.
Jesse Owens.
Yeah.
And that was in Germany, I assume.
Yes.
36.
36.
But I don't think there was one during wartime, so that's out of it.
America didn't join the war when everybody else was in the war.
Yeah, but I don't think there was an Olympic Games during the 1930 to 1909 to 1945 conflict.
Fair enough. What about Switzerland?
I was going to say Switzerland, but I don't ever remember them being in it anyway. So.
All right, let's put Switzerland down. We need one more. Go on, go
Australia.
Australia are British allies. I'd say something like Brazil.
Okay.
Quaxel says Sweden and France.
Well, Quaxel's probably right. All right, let's have some answers.
Right. So, what is cynophobia? The answer is a fear of dogs. Well done, Dave.
Yeah, boy!
Bizarre that you fucking do that.
That's awesome.
How many countries still have shilling as currency? Apparently it's 4.
4.
The bonus point, which countries? The countries are.
If we get one of these, then
we haven't got one of these.
Oh.
Kenya.
Okay.
Oh, I was close to Zimbabwe.
Did you say Zimbabwe?
I did say Zimbabwe.
No, that's not one of them anyway. Uganda, Tanzania, and Somalia.
I was in the right area.
Those all Nigeria? Oh, those are all African countries?
They are. They're definitely not all Nigerian countries.
Yeah, but I said an African country, didn't I?
Well done, you.
I was the closest.
Somalia also use captured people as currency, what Lord says.
Oh my God, really? Interesting.
Right, which 2 countries have not missed one of the modern day Olympics? The answers are...
That'll be 3 children, please.
Greece, obviously, because they have to fucking be there, otherwise there wouldn't be an Olympics.
Oh, boo.
And Australia!
Was it really?
Wow.
Oh, well. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Very good. Very good. I actually got an answer right. That's 2 weeks in a row, I think I've got one right. Oh, no, not 2 weeks in a row.
Too bad we were playing as a team. We didn't use your answer. All right, let's move on then. Any more? I
think that's everything, isn't it?
All right, let's move on to what we've been doing. Anybody want to start?
Yeah.
I don't know. What
I'll
did
start. Me and the family, me, my missus, and Ellen watched I say John Wick trilogy, so 1 to 3.
Did we talk about this recently?
I said I think I started watching them, but I've watched all 3 of them in the last couple of weeks.
Because I think it might have been talking to my family about watching them.
Yeah, it's funny because it's violent, but it's not gratuitous violence,
isn't
it? It's more comedy action violence,
especially when he blows that guy's brains out.
It's not like,
is it Kill Bill levels of comic violence?
No. See, that is more gratuitous violence.
Is it? That's clearly not real. When it's just literally blood spraying everywhere.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway,
I haven't watched it in quite a while, but no, it was good. I've
only seen the first.
I remember it being
or
more
John Wick?
as violent.
John Wick. I've only seen the first. So
okay.
Yeah, I think I
Second
don't know.
and third is pretty good. It's more the same.
Apparently, the 4th one's shit. Is it? I heard they were talking about this on Veteran Gamers. This is where I got to on the Veteran Gamers. They were talking about John Wick. And Chinny said that the whole 4 films all happen in the space of a week. Apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you miss that?
It was all set one after the other.
I must have missed that bit, or didn't get to it yet.
No, that's
So,
at the beginning.
they're all really well shot. I like them, and I'm looking forward to watching number 4. So, and then the other thing I've been doing really is looking into getting an Xbox Series S for my daughter. It's her birthday coming up. And
Do you
because
not like her anymore?
I've got Game Pass. Yeah, I thought
You don't want her to play video games anymore.
She doesn't have a console in her bedroom.
Oh, mate. What
So
dad are you?
well, she's got a Fire
It's a
Stick.
rhetorical question, don't you?
So, but no,
Does your
she
daughter
has
actually
been
play
sort of,
games then? Is she into games?
yeah, a little bit. More things like Fortnite and just games that you play with other people.
The Series S is a good Fortnite machine, I think.
Yeah. Fall Guys, she plays a little bit as well.
It's good for all of those kind of things, that's for sure.
So yeah, it's just like meeting up with mates and playing stupid games online.
Is the Switch included in all of that cross-platform stuff on those games?
I think it is, but
does it just not work very well?
It doesn't work very well. No. So yeah, I was looking at it. It's like 200 quid, 250 quid or something. Which is
You
not
can probably
bad,
get
decent little
really.
unit.
250 with a load of stuff nowadays, probably.
Yeah.
Like a load of Fortnite shit.
Yeah.
Mm.
What's that phrase?
They're decent units. I'm teetering on buying another one.
Right.
Just to put one upstairs. I'm sick and tired of using a Fire Stick.
For what?
I have a Fire Stick upstairs, same as a Roku. It's like
yeah,
a
what
little.
For doing what?
Well, all we do is watch TV. Sometimes I have a Fire Stick because the Roku didn't have Twitch, so I like the Fire Stick for the Twitch. Watch Netflix, Disney Plus, and do all that sort of stuff on it. But it's still not great. It's not as good as an Xbox.
Just buy a new TV with all of that stuff built in.
Oh, okay.
Well, like your TV must be ancient if it doesn't have one of that shit.
Yeah, but I don't need all that shit in my TV, do I? If you have an Xbox.
Well, if you buy a new TV, then it just has all of that shit. You can't buy a TV.
Right, but if rather than go spend $1,000 on a TV, I go spend $300 on an Xbox, and then I'd have an Xbox upstairs, or rather than just a TV that did everything that was fucking doing before.
Right, buy a nice new TV, or a nice fancy TV.
Your answers are always don't do what you're going to do. Go off and spend $1,000 here.
You obviously need a new TV. That's what I'm saying.
I don't need a new TV.
I think you do.
I treat TVs like monitors. To me, the TV is just a monitor now, right? It's not a TV as such. It's
it
just
costs
a monitor.
you more for a monitor than a TV that size.
Oh God, I'm not using one of these. Go on, Dave.
So yeah, that's it really. Just look at a new Xbox.
Not tempted by a PS5 though.
No,
not for a daughter anyway. You can get the one without a disc drive.
400 quid, 450 or something.
You don't have to give it to your daughter though. You keep that for yourself.
No, I don't want it. It's not.
See how his answers always involve spending a ton more money.
I've got my computer. I've spent enough, and the idea is to get my daughter.
You haven't got a PlayStation, Dave, so your computer's obviously shit.
Yeah,
I didn't say that. No, Dave's computer is not shit.
Mine is.
The plans is to get my daughter off my computer and onto her own device in her own room to stop taking, because my daughter just goes, "Oh, can I play a computer?" Well, yeah, right, it's fine. And then like about half hour later, like, "Oh, I want to play."
Right, but if she's playing on the computer, is an Xbox going to resolve that problem?
Yeah,
if she's playing on PC.
It's playing on Xbox.
Does she play with a controller?
She sometimes does. Yeah.
That could be a bit different.
She will be.
You can use mouse and keyboard for a load of stuff.
She's got a young brain. You know, they can remap inputs. So yeah. So a bit of a selfish reason to get an Xbox, but
that's a good reason.
Really, quality of life for you both.
Yeah. Or I could play with her. I can play.
Yes, because you can Game Pass on your PC while she Game Passes on the Xbox, and you can both play together.
Exactly.
But
Awesome.
Fortnite's not in Game Pass.
And you can wreck her with mouse and keyboard.
come at me, 1v1 me.
Yeah. So that's it. That's basically my week so far. I could talk about house moving stuff, but I'm not going to bother because it's
All right.
boring.
Okay.
So
Let's not stop you there. Let's not.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go next. I put the weather in because I went and did a customer visit on Wednesday. I went out east for a customer visit. I say it makes it sound like I went miles away. It's only about 3 or 4 hours away. And I got there and I
That's
completely.
a fair chunk of time though.
Yeah.
It's still fair. It was a long old day,
So,
and I
well,
got
like,
there.
do you have to fly there?
No, I drove. I left at sort of like 5 in the morning or whatever, and just drove out that way. But it was all outside, and I completely misread the weather, and it was fuck, and it caught everyone off by surprise. Like, because we've had great weather recently, and then we go out to do this event, which was outside, and it was fucking freezing. Like, it was fucking cold. Luckily, I talked to this one guy who was there, and he managed to score me a hat. So that saved my life. I think that hat, and I owe him. I'm gonna owe him forever on that one. And I came back.
Does he have days where it rains, or is it just either fucking snowing and freezing, or really nice?
Yeah, we do have rainy days too. Yeah, but it tends to be like real rainy days. It's very, very rare that you have the continuous drizzle days, which we do get from time to time, but not as much as the UK. Like, it's not
It's just
so
like
much
a permanent thing over here.
constant wet that the UK is. But I drove back on Wednesday night, frozen to the core, heated seat on all the way, got back, nice hot shower, put the bed on, and like climbed into this warm bed and just tried to get my thermal.
The bed on.
Get the core. Yeah, I've got a mattress pad. Did I tell you about my mattress pad I bought this year? Heated mattress pad, changed my life. It's up there with the bidet. The bidet.
Is that an electric blanket?
What age do you get your pension in Canada?
65, I think.
That must be nice.
I don't know. We'll find out. Yeah, and so like I had that going on the Wednesday, and then I get on Wednesday night, this a colleague of mine goes, "Oh, I've got another event. Can you come to it on Thursday?" And same sort of event. And I thought, yeah, okay, I'll go to that one. It was closer, so I went to that on Thursday. Fucking completely misread the weather on that one as well, right? It was fucking roasting. The sun was beating down. I am so burnt on my face and my forehead and the top of my head. I'm on fire. My face is on fire right now, and it's just the ridiculously of the 2 days.
Did you not pack a hat again?
I only had the fucking.
You just had a beanie hat.
I only had the woolly hats that saved me from the day before. I'd thrown all this hot weather gear into the back of my car as well. I was like, I'm not getting caught out again. And then I did get caught out because I didn't cover my head with the sun. But so that made me sort of laugh, although I feel like shit.
You need to keep some sun cream somewhere.
Yeah, I just didn't see it coming. I was just stupid. Anyway.
Do you not have like the weather app on your phone in your country?
Dude, it's been winter for 6 months. Like, it was just all of us.
It's May. It's nearly June.
Yeah, welcome to Canada.
Yeah, it's only a couple of weeks ago. You had like 2 foot of snow, wasn't it?
A couple of weeks ago, we were at 28 or something. I think, 28 degrees. God
that was
knows.
last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. If anybody can tell me what's happening with the weather, that would be great. Thanks.
Maybe set up your alerts on your phone. Say if it's going to be really hot or really cold.
I think it's just anyway, whatever.
Do you want me to show you how to do that, Grandad?
Yes, please, if you could. Yeah, so after the show last week, I went to this pinball.
Did you go to Jim's basement?
No, Jim's basement is. I got to work on Jim and his basement.
Okay.
But there's a place that's about half an hour from me, and I went there. I have been there before 10 years ago, but they've changed it a bit. And I went in there, and the place with quite a few people in there, all the machines on, about 50, 60 machines going.
Must have been noisy.
It was noisy. It sounded great, just like an old school arcade. And paid my $20, and they're like, okay, so the tournament starts in probably about 20 minutes. And I was like, oh, I didn't come down to join the tournament. I was just gonna play some pinball. And they're like, well, you can join the tournament. And it's $20, gets you into the tournament anyway. It's like, okay, sign me up. And so I did a pinball tournament, and
Wow.
I did not win my first round. I don't think I didn't come last. I think I came third on the first round. I think I did
third on
come
the
last.
first round.
Yeah, so basically the
sounds
way they
good.
worked. Yeah,
Unless there's three
yeah.
people.
So the way they work it was like they split you into groups of 4, and then they put you onto a machine, right? It's all randomized, but they put you onto a machine, 4 of you, you play, and then your first, second, third, and fourth, depending on what your scores are. Then they take your positions back, and then they do what's called, I think it's called Swiss pairings or something. So depending on
So like
your
third
ranking from that,
and sixth versus fourth and fifth kind of thing.
the fourths and the thirds and the seconds and the firsts all go together or whatever. They try and keep it so that it remains competitive anyway. Whatever. That's just the way they do it. And I think on my third round, I did win. I won the third round. I came top. I beat this lady. She was second by practically nothing. I was watching her, and she just needed to hit maybe just one bumper, and she would have beaten me. So I was very lucky to nab that. And I was just at the time, I was going, please sink, just please sink the ball. I felt bad. Like I felt bad that I was hoping that she wouldn't beat me, like because fair enough, she was whatever. But at the same time, I need that monkey off my back, please. Just let me get the monkey off my back so that I've won one round. And then I won that round. I was like, cool, okay, now that's fine. Okay, I won a round. Now it doesn't matter what happens. I played about 2 or 3 more rounds, and I think I came, third and fourth in those ones as well. So I didn't do very well, but I had a lot of fun. Met some really nice people. Played some excellent machines, and
Are they all old
and they
machines,
have.
are they? Or are they?
They're
Do they still making new pinball stuff? I assume they.
Yeah, there's new pinball stuff. I'll come to that in a second. The machines that we played on, they ran from like late. I think they were probably late '60s, early '70s games, all the way up to modern games, and they're very different as you go through the timeline of pinball machines, but they all have their own quirks and features that are pretty neat, and different styles of play. And particularly if you're playing against people on a machine, it doesn't matter if you're playing on a shitty old machine or you're playing on a brand spanking new machine. If you're playing against other people, you got to concentrate and you got to do your best.
Good job you've been doing all that practice on your iPad.
What's interesting was which I mean, that's just the thing with the iPad is that I've played some more of that, and learning machines. Like this one guy was playing. I was playing on one of the games against these guys, and this one guy was doing really badly. And I turned away for a second, and then I turned back, and he was like 4 or 5 times ahead of me or the next person or whatever. Like just smashed it. And at the end of the game, I was just like, holy shit, I don't know what you did, dude, but suddenly you went from having crappy score to a good score. He goes, yeah. He goes, because on this machine, if you do that and you do this and then you hit the spinners, you're just going to rack up loads of points. So that highlights what that there is something to knowing the machines and the rules for the machines, because all the machines have their own rules. But anyway, it was really cool. Met some really cool people, and the way everybody was walking around with their phones out, and they could see the pairings. So
Were they checking the weather forecast?
No, so there is a website which connects with everyone in the competition, so everybody in real time on the phone can follow what's going on in the competition, which was pretty cool. And then paired with that, it gives me. I've now got a player number. And when I go again, which is going to be tonight, I will register my player number in the tournament, and I will have a global world ranking by tomorrow in pinball. Yes, so everyone rejoice. Fraser's I'm going to have a global ranking, a global world pinball ranking. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did you change your name?
To what? The Wizard?
No, Tommy, obviously.
My wife never heard of Tommy. Can you believe that?
What?
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
Well, maybe that's because her husband never played a mean pinball.
Well, he does now. He will tonight, maybe. So yeah, that was pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to going back to that. Oh yeah, that's all I got. So yeah, Neil.
Right. Well, it's been a week of football for me, and games obviously, but watched a few games, Premier League games this week because it's been league we got League One and Championship playoffs this week. I've been watching. My team obviously been in the playoffs this week. Lost 2-1 away on this. Was that last Saturday? It was, wasn't it? Well, it was last Saturday. We lost 2-1 up at the stadium a night. Wasn't the best performance from the boys. Thankfully, we had a home leg on Tuesday night to come and I watched that. I had to leave for work before it had finished, and we were 2-0 up when I left for work, which meant we were going to Wembley because we were winning 3-2 on aggregate.
Oh yeah.
And on the way to work, it was on the TalkSport radio, so I was listening to TalkSport, and I don't know if I've heard this before, but I've said my wife's car's a bit shit occasionally. And
the QQ?
The QQ, yeah. And on the way to work, the radio decided to cut out. And I was like, for fuck's sake. And
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Radios don't cut out.
No,
they do. They do if you're trying to listen to the most important football match in a long time.
So literally, it's like a 5-minute journey to work. And on the way, when the radio kicks back in, it was going something like, "It's 3 versus 1. He really should have scored." And I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And it was actually we should have scored to make it 3-0, not them, thankfully. But yeah, basically missed an open goal in like the last few seconds. But we won, so Luton Town are off to Wembley, which for a place in the Premier League, which doesn't seem real, honestly.
When was the last time they were in the top flight?
1992, we were a founder member of the Premier League, but have yet to play in the Premier League because got relegated the year before it was formed. So that's pretty good, isn't it? And Coventry, who are our opponents, they haven't played in the Premier League since 2001 or something. So I'm not sure if they were a founding, but look, we were both teams at the top end of the Football League for a long time, and we've both been through the ringer a bit over the last 20 years or so. We were both playing in the National League Conference, whatever you want to call it, about 5 years ago, or whatever it was, 7 years ago. So we've both come up sort of hand in hand through the leagues back up to the playing now for a place in the Premier League, which is just mad. Coventry have probably had it even worse than we have, to be fair, because they've had all sorts of shit. They couldn't even play at home at the beginning of this season because their ground was fucked because they had all sorts of shit going on there over the summer. But yeah, next Saturday I won't be going to Wembley because I can't get a ticket because they've sold 26,000 or 27,000 tickets to season ticket holders already, and the next round of tickets you have to have gone to 5 matches or more to get a ticket, and they'll all go in the next round. And we only got 37,000 nearly tickets each team, so there'll be 74,000 Partizan fans out of 89,000 or whatever at Wembley. So it's like 15,000 tickets that aren't going to fans of Coventry or Luton. Which is a bit... not sure about that, really. Don't know why. That's a lot of tickets. But there we go. That's the way it is.
So sorry, are you getting a ticket
no,
or what?
I won't be getting a ticket because I can't. I've not been to a game all season this year. So... Can't handle it. I can't handle the pressure. Can't handle it.
Mate, you've got it all going on, haven't you? I mean, surely if something's got to stick, either you're going to get.
Well, either we're going to the Premier League or Coventry are going to the Premier League. That's what's going to happen a week tomorrow.
Well, either Luton could be going to the Premier League, or you could be taking over a reigning champion spot from me, who's the current reigning champion of the fantasy football.
Well,
league.
neither of those things could happen.
Or neither could happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a bummer.
All right.
I'll take Luton. I'll happily lose the fucking FPL when Luton goes to the Premier League. I'll definitely trade that. Just to watch us get absolutely battered by Man City, like about 15-0 or something stupid next season. But yeah, and that was fun. But then last night, possibly the most bizarre, bonkers thing happened in the playoffs, because it was the League One playoffs last night. Sheffield Wednesday versus Peterborough. This was the second leg. So Sheffield Wednesday obviously have finished above Peterborough in the league because that's how it works. The highest placed team plays at home second. Peterborough, when they had the home leg, like I think it was Friday last week, won 4-0 at Peterborough. And no one has ever overturned a 2-0 deficit in the playoffs, ever. And so Sheffield Wednesday were 3-0 up when I started watching it. What else was on? I can't remember. I was watching something else, and then I flicked over. I was watching the Newcastle game, and then I flicked over to watch the end of the Sheffield Wednesday game. So I saw something saying it's 3-0. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it was 3-0 for quite a while. And in the 98th minute of where they played 8 minutes of 6 minutes injury time, Sheffield Wednesday only went and bloody scored their fourth goal and made it 4-0, which meant it went to extra time. And that was just fucking crazy. That was mad anyway. And then Peterborough went and scored the next goal in the extra time, which meant they were going through, obviously, to Championship. And then, really quite late again, Sheffield Wednesday scored again to make it 5-1 on the night, 5-5 on aggregate. And it went to fucking penalties. And Sheffield Wednesday won on penalties. And it's just mad. Absolutely mad. Never seen anything like it. So there is the Premier League, which is great and everything. But other football is still good. I don't think there's anything quite like it. Like in this country has football all the way down. There were like it was rammed full at Sheffield Wednesday. And like I say, that's League One, which is the old Division 3 back in the old days. And it was packed, like 50,000 or something stupid or whatever it is. It was full.
Yeah, that would have been good, eh?
Yeah. And like we're old Division 2 Championship, and that we were at Stadium of Light the other week, and that was like 40 odd thousand. It's absolutely fucking packed. So I don't think other countries really get the crowds all the way. Like, I mean, probably don't have massive clubs in like the fucking 3rd, 4th division of their leagues, I guess, because they probably just go out of business if they go down too far. But yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, it's good.
And it was decent football. It's not like shit. It's not like watching total shit. It's decent football. So, yeah, there is more to like football than the Premier League. Even if we get there next year, I'll still probably watch the other games. So, that's been my week watching shit. I haven't done anything else really.
Okay. Good. Well, best of luck in the when are the playoffs? When's the
week tomorrow?
All right. Okay, so
I'm going to be a fucking mess like next Saturday, one way or another, probably.
Okay. Let's move on then to what we've been playing.
Right.
Neil, do you want to start this one?
I don't know. Do I? Who's got the most games? Right. I'm going to start with my Star Wars game that I've been playing.
We'll go one and
yeah.
pass.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So I've continued to play Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I haven't really made many notes. I've just been carried on. I'm up to about nearly 40 hours now or something I've played of this game. Like I said earlier, there was a new patch this week, which is the 5th patch of it for PC. I think it came to consoles as well. But it definitely, I said last week, it was looking weird, like soft, like it wasn't running at the right resolution. That does appear to have resolved itself, and it does actually look like it's rendering at the right resolution now. Looks a lot nicer and runs quite a lot smoother in the main. There was one thing I did multiple times. I was trying to do something, which is I can't remember exactly what it was. But there was one thing I kept trying to do, and it kept crashing. It was literally it would repeatedly crash doing the same thing. And it was like in the open world, trying to obviously as you progress, you get more and more abilities. You can open more doors or get through different gaps or whatever that you couldn't get through before. And I'd got to this point where in this big map where I could do something. I think I was dragging a bomb. You can get a bot like these mines to follow you along the ground. If you I was running along, and if you let it stay too close to you for too long, it just fucking explodes. But basically, if you get them to go to these they're like doors, but obviously it's not a door; it's like a blocked doorway. They can blow this mine, can blow a hole in it. And I was getting it to follow me and dragging it and dragging it and dragging it. I'd get so far and then it would just fucking crash. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. It did it about 3 times. So I was like, I didn't bother doing that after that. And then it hasn't crashed again since. Thank you, Lord. And yeah, it's
I'm assuming you're thanking Lord in chat, not
Yes.
our, not
Yeah,
your
not just-
Lord
not
and
just for player
Savior
feedback.
above.
yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, that doesn't come through on the audio recording, does it? But yeah, Lord's just subbed. Thank you. So made a bit more progress through the story, beat a couple of the bosses, found a load more optional bosses and killed them. Remember I was talking about the spawn of Ogdu or whatever it was last week? You probably
Yes.
don't remember that. Well, I went into one of those forced tears, and there was the spawn of Ogdo or whatever, and Bogdo or Bogdu, I can't remember. There was two of the fuckers. And I was like, oh, shit. It didn't seem as hard, but I couldn't beat the pair of them. I was like, fuck this, I'm doing this. I'll come back to this and do it another time. But yeah, I've done. There's a Kobo is like the main sort of hub world. Well, it's not. It's more than a hub. There's a lot of mission-based stuff there, but your base is on this world, and it's the biggest area in the game. And I've done 94% exploration on that area now, which is quite a lot. It's quite a big area. I've unlocked loads of like the abilities. The force abilities, I'm like probably 95% through unlocking everything. And I did, the first thing I did was unlock all of the resilience stuff to make myself as strong and hard to hit as possible. And then I've got to the point where I can basically start unlocking the lightsaber stuff, even ones that I'm not actually using. Oh, what's he done there?
Rose has gone off camera.
Right.
Oh, there he is.
Here for a minute.
Oh, no, it's
No,
gone again.
He's gone. He's gone.
Yeah,
What's he doing?
back? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Making me do live editing. So it's a better game now. It runs better, for sure. But I just I'm absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. That's all I want to play at the moment.
That's good.
It's definitely a lot better than the first game, for sure. Maybe the story's not as good as the first game, I guess, but you feel proper powerful now. And I'll get to the point where I'm doing all sorts of cool shit with my force powers. I'm not going to spoil it with what you get, but yeah, now I'm throwing people around and that I couldn't do before and things like that. You can throw people around at the beginning, but you can do more of it as you unlock and more powers. I don't know how much longer I've got to go for the main story, but so I've been spending a lot of time I've worked out how many skill points I need to unlock everything. And I think I need another 39 skill points to just unlock everything that's available to unlock.
Is that your target then?
I don't know. I'm going to go and do. I think I've spent a lot of time fucking around with that, and I'm going to go and do another mission. The next mission bit, I think, next when I go back to it. But yeah, some of the way it sounds when you're having what you're doing when you're having a fight, you can that's massively put me off. Thank you. It's a Stinky Poo is gifting sub to Hardy Dan. That's very kind of you. So where was I? Yeah. So when you're having a fight, they've got there's two bars above each enemy. Basically, there's like a stagger bar. Or a stance. I don't know what it's like, a stance bar in like Sekiro or something like that. Whereas if the more you hit them, the more you deplete this bar, and at a certain point, like you'll deplete that bar, and they'll like stagger, and you'll be able to do a few uninterrupted hits. And once you've ground their health down to a certain extent, there's like a little red circle glow on them, and if you hit them, then it does like a finishing move. You don't have to do a special move to fucking do it. You just press the attack button. It does like a finishing move, and the sound of that is awesome. just awesome when it fucking like
Yeah,
does
you were
like a
going on about sounds last week,
mate.
right?
Honestly, the lights when you're lightsaber fights sound cool in Star Wars, don't they? And when you do it and it just takes control away from you, and you just watch it, and it just starts all these different like fucking moves. Like, it might kick them up in the air or whatever, and the lightsaber's swinging around, and then it just like straight through into something. Like, yeah, that was cool, fucking cool. All the finishing moves are really good, and yeah, it's just fucking great. Absolutely love it. So I'm hoping I will have finished this by next week. Like I say, I've done 40 hours. I haven't checked how long to beat or anything, but I must be getting near to the end.
No, you're obviously powering through it. That's good.
Yeah, it's definitely like every time I play it, I'm like, oh, we just played for like 6 hours. So yeah,
Yeah, see, I can relate. I'll go on to my one. Is I picked up the Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order, that's on Game
Yeah,
Pass at the
you
moment.
said you were going to do that.
And yeah, I've put quite a few hours into it, and you're right, it is one of those games that you're like, oh, I'll just play a little bit, and then yeah, 4, 5, 6 hours later, you're like, fuck, I've done that. I've not. I'm I can see where the inspiration has come from with Dark Souls, in that it's an instanced area. You you basically you get back up to full health, and all the enemies revive back. So if you want to go through the same area again, you've got to fight all the same enemies, or you can just dodge around them, or the fact that you're leveling up and
you're
getting
also
better
like
abilities.
unlocking shortcuts and stuff like that is a big
Yes.
feature.
Yeah, exactly. You're unlocking doors, or moving scenery around so that you can take shortcuts and stuff. So yeah, it's funny. As I was playing it, was like, this is like the um if this was if I played this first and not played Dark Souls, I think I'd have got into Dark Souls, because I don't know why. I think, I'm not sure if it's a dumbed down version of Dark Souls or
It's definitely not as hard.
no. But it's still a challenge.
Yeah, it definitely gets
Yeah,
challenging at times.
yeah. So I didn't catch this when it first came out in 2019, I think it was, or 2020. I don't know why. I don't know if it's only just come to Game Pass recently, or not. But yeah, I'm definitely glad I've picked it up, and I want to finish this before going on to Jedi Survivor, because what you said before is you continue the story
Yeah.
from
It's like I think there's a 5-year gap between the
right.
games. I think.
Yeah, but what you're saying is, you start with all your abilities,
Yeah.
and I haven't actually unlocked all of my abilities from here. So I want to, as part of the story, I want to get to that point, um, where
Yeah.
the story continues. So
There's definitely.
yeah,
I'm trying to. I did. It's been a long time since I played the first one, but there's a lot more fighting, like the wildlife in the first game, I think.
right,
And
yeah,
some of them, they're like fucking. They can take you by surprise for sure and do a lot of damage. In the first
yeah,
game, and they still. There's a couple of enemies in the new one. Like they're only like little. Like, I don't know what they're like an emu type walking bird kind of thing.
right,
They just come charging at you. If you don't get out of the way, it takes about a quarter of your health off. You're like, fucking hell. Whereas like a stormtrooper shoots you and it does basically no damage. It's
right,
just like...
right, yeah, and those are easily parryable as well. Is that I've come across that a few times. There's a big train sequence in the Fallen Order where you're fighting against well, you're trying to escape from the stormtroopers, and yeah, they're firing lasers at you, or trying to hit you with the shock sticks and stuff. And they're pretty tame, really, compared to some of the creatures that you come up against, especially some of the larger ones, like completely, yeah, obliterate you. Where when they're doing their sort of no dodge attacks. But that's one of the good things that I've found about this, is that it's weird. Because it doesn't choreograph it. sort of indicates quite clearly what the attacks are going to be against you, and I know how to work around it, dodge out of the way, or I can counter it quite easily. I mean, it's maybe just because I'm putting a bit more time, I'm learning it a bit more, rather than the Dark Souls. So I'm actually
Because
understanding.
it sounds cool as fuck. Killing things with a lightsaber, whereas hitting things with a sword is a bit meh.
Yeah. So I haven't like upgraded that much, but I have got 1 or 2 finishing moves, and I've got a cool backflip as well. So I like doing that. Yeah. I'm enjoying it. I want to play more. I want to finish it. And then
The second one is as if you're enjoying this, the second one's just so much better.
Right.
It's great. It's really so much better. I'm watching now and going, oh yeah, I'm remembering all of the things that were a little bit annoying about the original. But like some of the puzzles were a bit. There was like, I definitely remember that some of the things I've seen in the video that we're watching this, and like the balls that you can't, the guy whoever's playing can't move because they're glowing red. But I remember having to throw them things around, and it was quite annoying. But
yeah, see, I remember back the first Jedi Fallen Order was well received, but it wasn't praised like this one's being praised.
Yeah, they've just taken like everything that was good they've kept, and everything that was not good they've improved for this game.
Which you'd expect, which they should do, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just like people say, it's like Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2 kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
So.
All right.
Cool.
I've got the only real game I've played is Zelda, but I'm going to come to that after we've done the next round. And so I just thought I'd quickly talk about some of the tables that I've been getting into this week, because it's Fraser's pinball section, right? And it's just two things. One, the table I've been playing this week has been at home has been Fishtails. I've been learning that there's a really good table. A lot of fun, and it's been challenging me to try and figure out how to best play it. So been getting stuck into that one. But when I was playing some real, this was the iPad one, yeah. And I can't remember whether there's a Fishtails.
Is that on what's it
Fishtails
called?
is
Zen Pinball.
Yeah, it's a hugely popular table, and a really good table too. But when I was playing last week, one of the tables that I couldn't stop playing, like I went round and played a load of little tables, and there are all these good tables and whatever, and some were not as inviting. And I stopped and I played the Iron Maiden table. I was like, I'll just play the Iron Maiden table. Why not? I tell you what, that Iron Maiden table was fucking great. I am looking forward to playing that one.
You're not really a heavy metal guy either, are you?
But that's the thing about the table, right? Out of all the tables I played, that one is cranked to 11. Like it just
it's a lot of a Spinal Tap table, is it?
It thumps with noise. Like it must have a subwoofer in the cabinet. It is really loud and boomy. So and it's all based around that. I'm not a big Iron Maiden fan, but that sort of Iron Maiden image of, what's the name of that guy, that their mascot? He's always like flying the British flag, and there's always like cannons and shit or whatever like that. And in this one's based like this, yeah, and there's like cannons, and he's flying, Spitfires and things like that. And and they also have a massive rumble machine in there too. So the whole thing is shaking. It's that was a really good experience. And that's a modern table. That one has only been built in the last few years, I think.
Well, that's a bit weird. A modern Iron Maiden table.
Yeah. There's loads. I think the music ones are really popular. So this was what I was going to. I played the AC/DC table, which was really good as well. Oh no, it wasn't the AC/DC. It was Kiss. That was a really good table. Right, okay. Yeah, right. Not quite the same, I know, but the table was really good. So there's something, and there was 2 Led Zeppelin tables they had, and they had a Foo Fighters table, which I think I sent you guys the picture. Mm-hmm. So I thought Dave might be interested in that, him being the massive Foo Fighters fan. I didn't get a chance to play it, so hopefully I'll get onto that that table tonight. That's a modern one. That's only, I think, just come out this
Yeah,
year.
they're a modern band,
Okay.
or modern-ish anyway. At least more modern than
Modern-ish,
fucking
yeah.
Iron Maiden. I don't think Iron Maiden are releasing new music anymore. I don't know.
I think
Isn't he turned into a bit of a Brexit knobber? Something. Bruce Dickinson. I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I feel like that happened.
Didn't they just? Aren't they on? I think they're on tour right now. Or they've just been on tour.
They're
Anyway,
always
I don't know.
on tour.
They probably are. All
That's
these
the only
bands
way
are
they
always
make
on
money
tour.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are so some tables that I've been playing this week. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I played a little bit of a relatively new game, which came to PS Plus this week on Tuesday. It is available in VR, but I did not play it in VR because I don't have PlayStation VR 2. The game is called Humanity. You may have seen this. It is Lemmings-like.
Oh, somebody mentioned this before.
Yeah, it definitely. Well, I watched when it first got announced. I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. It looks a bit like Lemmings, but with people instead of lemmings, and you're a dog instead of a cursor. But key difference between this and Lemmings is it doesn't matter if loads of people fall to their death, whereas that obviously is quite key in Lemmings that you're trying to save almost 100% of them. People who don't remember Lemmings, that was a game from like 1990 or something stupid, or maybe even before that. I don't know.
Maybe before that, yeah, that's an old game.
So basically, there's a load of. You know what? Lemmings, the game was basically called Lemmings because lemmings just follow the leader, don't they? Basically, and it doesn't matter if the leader just jumps to his death; they'll all just follow.
Is that true?
I don't know, but that was kind of the gist of it. So basically, in Humanity, there is a start point and an end point in each level, and the start point is like a big white glowing doorway, and people start to come through it. A lot of people come through it, and there'll be a 3D map that you've got to. It's like a basically square grid, like not a square as in the total, but each grid tile is like a square. And you have to guide all of these people to the exit by getting them to turn at a certain square and then turn at another certain square to point them towards the exit. Well, that's how it starts anyway. So what you do is you're a dog character, a white glowy dog. There is like a weird story going on at the same time. And you hold down the square button and you point a direction and it will give the command to turn at a certain point that wherever you are on this map level. So whenever the people reach that square, say you've turned them left, they will all turn left and then continue to walk in that direction until either they fall off the edge or you give another command for them to turn right or whatever. And then they'll all turn right and then walk in till they walk off the map. Or hopefully you will eventually guide them to the exit. I don't know what the threshold is for you to complete a level. It just means after I don't know how many people actually hit the exit, then it suddenly says, yeah, you've done it. Well done. What happens as you progress? Obviously, things get much more complicated. And you have these characters called Goldies, which are stationary already on the map. And you have to get the people to walk through the square where the Goldie person is. Or maybe they're not on the square, maybe they're in the midair. Because you get the ability to make people jump later on. And they have to collect the Goldie person, and then once they've walked through the Goldie person, the Goldie person will continue to walk with the rest of the crowd, following the instructions that you leave behind on the map. And if you happen to let the Goldie person fall off the edge of the map, then you obviously lose the Goldie person, and that prevents you from gaining rewards. If you get the people and the Goldie person to the end, then you unlock rewards as you get the Goldie person there, as well as all the people. The people you need to do to finish the map, but if you get the Goldies there, you unlock extra bits. Sometimes it's just hats for all the people. And I think as you progress, I think you need to save so many of the goldies to actually progress through the game. You need to unlock, say, like you get through the prologue, then you unlock the first actual like a bunch of levels, which was called Awakening, and to unlock the next level, I think you need to save like 15 goldies, for example. It's a similar mechanic that's been in a lot of other puzzly games where you need to unlock, like get so many stars to unlock the next thing, kind of thing. It's in a lot of other games. And like I say, as you progress, you get new abilities. There'll be a jump, which is a simple, like they'll jump over the next square. Then you unlock a high jump where they jump a lot higher. And then there's a long jump where they jump 4 squares.
This sounds brilliant.
Mate, it's really fucking good.
Is it?
Yeah, it really fucking starts to mess
It
with your
looks
noodle.
all right. I'm looking at it. I think you've got a tough job really digging down and like it's Lemmings but better.
Yeah, it's Lemmings in 3D.
There we go.
Lemmings-
Let's boil it down into 3 words.
Yeah, Lemmings in
Lemmings, but
3D,
better.
and yeah, it doesn't matter if all the lemmings die. Because if they fall too far, they just die. If they fall off the edge, they die. And it quite quickly gets quite complicated. You get maps where there's a lot of elevation changes, and there's also bits where they swim through like tanks quite early on as well. So I'm still on the sort of I've got everything through the prologue, rescued all the goldies through the prologue. That was fairly straightforward because that's just basically learning the basics. And then I'm on level 5 of the Awakening bit, and it started to get a little bit like, this is actually starting to fry my noodle a little bit and make, because you have
Gone
like
into Dave territory
there
now.
was
Now you
one-
need to call in
the previous one.
time to call in the heavyweights.
There was like there was loads of different elevation changes. There was swimming through water. When they hit a big area of water, they swim on the same level as they enter it. They don't sink or anything like that. Just swim straight through the water. Whether that be they're not on the surface, that if it's under the surface or whatever, they
How
just
do
swim
they
straight
enter
through.
underneath water then?
There's like it's just like a big tank, but it's like obviously it's a fucking video game, so they don't have to walk through a pane of glass. It's like
Oh, okay.
a suspended 3D volume of water. Say it's like 3 squares wide by 3 squares high by like 7 squares deep, for example.
Yeah.
Then they'll just enter it, whatever level they walk into it, and they'll swim on that same level in the same trajectory. I can't remember if you can. I don't think you can make them turn while they're in the water. They'll just swim through, and then you only turn or jump while they're outside of the water.
Right.
And there was one where there was just people like going round in fucking all sort of mad like loops and circles. But yeah, it's actually really quite clever and like quite cool. It's on, like I say, it's on PS Plus Extra and Premium. Like it's the mid tier and above on PS Plus, and it's on Steam. Possibly Epic. I don't know if it's on Epic. It's 25 quid on Steam. If you have it on PlayStation and you have PSVR 2, you can play it in VR, which I would imagine would be quite clever or quite cool. You know, like Tetris Effect was quite cool in VR. I imagine being immersed in this sort of weird 3D world would be quite cool in VR, but I can't play VR anymore because it makes my head hurt. But yeah, Humanity, I'll be playing some more of that because it's something to make me think. Sort of thing I want my son to play.
Should.
Check it out.
Very good.
If it's on Epic at the moment, there is a coupon available on Epic. I don't know if it is.
Oops.
A coupon. 25% off coupon available on Epic at the moment.
All right.
Yeah, they're doing a big sale, aren't they?
Yeah.
On Epic.
Dave, do you want to talk about Stellaris before I talk about the main event?
Yeah, I've been smashing Stellaris, and I've completed a whole game of Stellaris.
I
Which
didn't even know you could do that.
It's not a small feat. I've played it as a normal Iron Man save.
The
So
normal Iron Man.
no save skimming. Yeah, like to get achievements. So yeah, I completed the whole game in a couple of weeks. So I don't even know how many hours that is. Probably like 40, 45, something like
I noticed you've been up late. I've been at work.
that.
I've been at work going,
Yeah.
oh, it says Dave was on
We're
5 minutes
watching
ago on my
you.
tea break. I go for my tea break around 3 a.m. when I'm at work. And
We
it
notice.
says, oh, Dave was online 5 minutes ago. I thought, that's quite late.
Yeah. Um,
Back
I've
up
dis-
to his
I,
old tricks.
well, I've discovered that when I get stressed, I don't want to think about stuff, so I play games like this until 4 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, that was fun, and I think it's the first game of Stellaris I've actually finished. Like
I
to get
honestly
to the
didn't
end.
realise there was an end state in this game. I just thought it went on forever and ever.
I think you can continue. You can say like, okay, this is the end of years. This is what like the victory conditions are at this point. It's like a civilization. You get to the point and you say, you've won. Do you want to continue? So, but I don't think I've ever got to that point. Basically, you get Stellaris is one of those games that you get to the point where the work that you're doing at the end is more political than actually growing your civilization and like starting wars to take over smaller civilizations, stuff like that, and managing the populations between the two, and the factions and the leaders and yeah, all that stuff, all that good stuff. It gets to a point where everyone's in the Federation. You can't really create any wars because everyone's and like yourself and the AI have created an even keel between all yourselves. There's in Stellaris, there's like a mid-level and end-level crisis that, because of the way I created my empire, they both spawned on me and I just obliterated straight away. And yeah, it was really good. As I say, I don't think I haven't completed a Iron Man game of it, and I haven't I don't think I've completed a game to the victory condition at the end. So yeah, it's one of them. The game's still being updated, still getting DLC.
Oh, it's only a matter of time before my son comes cap in hand to me again about DLC for Stellaris that he
Yeah,
has to have. He loves it.
There was another DLC drop. I think I did get it. I can't remember.
You bought some DLC the other day, I noticed. Well, a couple of weeks
did.
ago, I think it was, to be fair.
But it's basically another big update, and it changes quite a lot of the basically how you manage your empire. Lots of balance changes, stuff like that. And I think that happened like halfway through my game, which is a bit weird. But they've also introduced a co-op. So I think multiplayer's always kind of been in, and you could like play a competitive or
It was similar
like
to Civ, isn't it? I think. Is it
yeah.
Is it a turn-based thing, or is it like a?
It's not. It's a real-time strategy.
So how's that work in
It's not
multiplayer? Then?
turn-based. So everyone runs on the same timeline.
So it's like Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
In 4 dimensions.
With this though, you can like, I think it depends on how you have it set up. You can have a majority or a unanimous vote to increase or decrease speed of the simulation between yourselves. Whereas there's a dedicated co-op, so where two people are playing this same civilization that you're controlling. Don't know how that works.
Yeah, that sounds complicated.
It does. But I think like I've seen a few things, people talking about it on Reddit and stuff, and they're actually really enjoying it. So it's still in beta. So or what? No, it was in beta. I don't know if it's now live. But it's supposed to be quite good. I might pick it up. I don't know.
Pick it
You
up.
will.
I don't know if there's anybody playing Stellaris. Give me a shout.
Matt's a fan. This isn't it, cousin Matt. He plays a lot of
Mark is
Stellaris.
more of a fan of Stellaris, I think. Maybe Matt
Yeah.
played some.
I've got quite a few people on here that have put quite a bit of time. Well, not as much time. Your son's put 4.5 hours in the last couple of weeks. Who's that? Gutter Snipe. That's 26 hours in the last 2 weeks. That's more my
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll something I did forget to actually add to my list that I'll quickly talk about. I've
yeah?
only played like half hour of it. Starship Troopers Extermination.
Okay.
Did
It's
you buy this then recently?
I did buy it. Yeah, I literally bought it today.
Is this on Steam?
This is on Steam.
Is it on sale?
Is this new?
It's not on sale. It's
Oh.
£20. 20
20 quid?
English pounds.
Fucking hell. Still young.
But it's still in early access. But it looks.
Hang on. I thought this was like more of your game. But it appears to be an FPS.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, Starship Troopers Extermination. It's a 16-person PvE game with base building, first person, always on friendly fire, although there is no such thing as friendly fire.
Oh. Friendly fire with randos.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I've played the tutorial, and it really does. I think it encapsulates because the film was amazing and it's B film.
I'm not sure how to describe the film, to be honest.
B moviness. It was like
Yeah.
a triple A B movie.
It was
wasn't
funny but weird.
It was like there was lots of very big names in that film, but it was shot as a B movie, but with the CGI and in-house effects of a AAA.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like
and
RoboCop in space.
yeah, I think a lot of people missed the fact that it was self-referential and like intentionally cliched and
Was it a
over
satire?
egging. Yeah. Like
Primarily, yeah. It's
yeah.
yeah.
It was. It was playing on the joke of what's the word of it? The militarization of space and basically how they recruit and basically infer that like you're not a citizen until you've gone into war. You're not allowed to vote. You're not really a proper person with rights until you've done your duty. Which
This game looks absolutely batshit, by the way.
it's the game is batshit. And it really it's got that sort of late 90s, early 2000s kind of look back at an 80s style hoo-ah war thing. Yeah, it's really good. The feel of it is pretty good. The shooting's okay. The base building and I've played one match where I matched up with people. Although I'm not sure if it's match made, or I don't know if there is much of the game knowing how everyone is and sets the difficulty sort of across the board. So if you got a lot of new people playing together, does the AI sort of make it a bit easier for them, or I'm not sure how much of that is involved. But again, I've been looking on the websites and I've been reading about it, and there's big big ideas for this game.
So is this early access? Or is it?
This is early access.
Looks all right.
Yeah, it seems fun. And I'll play a bit more of it.
All right. So I suppose we should
Watch some
check
YouTube videos.
Okay, thank you. I'll finish off with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which I finally got around
Never
to
heard of it.
playing. Yeah, to get a little game released from somebody called Nintendo.
It's an indie game, is it?
I'm sure there's a gag in there about it looking like an indie game. I sat down with it on Saturday and gave it a proper start, and it was a fantastic opening to the game. Like, it's just, you're going to hear a lot of people, like, there's some, it feels like, I've heard people saying it doesn't look very good, it doesn't run very well, there are frame drops, there are, let's take that and deal with that straight away. This is a Switch game. It is hampered by the fact that it has to run on the Switch. Therefore, yeah, it doesn't look like a AAA title would right now. And it does dip somewhere along the line. I'd like to think that at some point we can play this on the Switch too, where it will run like butter, right?
I think you can pretend to play it on a Switch 2 already if you want.
Well, possibly. Let's not go into that. But if you take all that aside and then you just watch it and accept it for what it is, and you have your expectations in place, it's just a fucking masterpiece. Again, it's like a Nintendo masterpiece. There's no ifs or buts. Just the way it starts to the intro, the graphics aren't AAA, but with what they do, they make it look fantastic.
It has a style.
It has its style, and the style is wonderful. It's it may not be to everyone's taste, but it is, as far as I'm concerned, looks amazing. And it just has that Nintendo spit and polish, like the start of it, where it's a lot more. And I'm trying not to be too spoilerish, but it's a lot more sky based, and there's a lot more verticality in this one than there ever was before. And there's one bit where you go flying up into the air or whatever. You're high up in the air, and then you come down and you're gliding down. And there's a lot that's really relevant to the way that you view the world or whatever, and that you interact with the world. But the opening scene where he's just falling through the sky and the wind is whistling through his hair, and then it just starts, the title screen comes up, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and the music is, the orchestral music comes out. I was just sitting there just fucking dumbfounded. I was like, oh man, this is just like, this is what it's all about, right? Like you say with the Jedi game, it's just that experience of it just being like knock your socks off. I think it's just great. And so and it does that. And the mechanics are amazing. I mean, it does a little thing right at the start. And again, I don't want to be too spoilery, not on this first, because it's only just come out this week. By the way, in a nutshell, if you want my review, it's Breath of the Wild Part 2. All right? And I also heard a lot of people saying, well, I haven't played Breath of the Wild. Should I go straight to this? If you haven't played Breath of the Wild, I don't even know why you're having this conversation. Go play Breath of the Wild, okay? That shouldn't ever be in your vocabulary.
What if you started Breath of the Wild and went, meh?
Then don't play this, because you're going to do the same thing again, right?
There's a lot of new stuff in this game.
I think it still demands the same thing of you, though. Okay, so here we go. Tears of the Kingdom, as far as I can tell, still demands the same thing of you that Breath of the Wild did. It is not the Zelda game that I want, which Breath of the Wild was never the Zelda game that I want. The Zelda game I want is similar to Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, that old school Zelda, fairly rigid map, sections to explore, big dungeons, lots going on in each dungeon. This is the same as Breath of the Wild. There's lots of shrines. The shrines have interesting puzzles in them, but none of them so far have been anything like amazing, just like Breath of the Wild. But at the same time, like, everything is done really well, and it's more of Breath of the Wild goodness, really. There's some new mechanics in there, and obviously,
that's what I think. That's the big thing that I've been hearing is the new mechanics is what makes this game what it is, I guess. I don't know
Yeah,
if you've seen videos on the internet lately.
well, I
but-
haven't. You see that I have to tell you this. This is the caveat with all this: is that I have not listened to anybody review this. I have not listened to anybody talk about it before it came out. I have not watched any videos. I have not watched any of the. I think I watched one Nintendo preview from 4 years ago or whenever it was. Right. So I know nothing about it. My expectations are exact.
You must know a bit about stuff that you can. The new abilities.
Only the ones I've picked up so far.
What have you got so far then?
So
you can name them without spoiling them. What they are? You can call them what they are. If you can remember what they're called.
If I could remember what they're called, I have no idea, right? So I just, all I know is, yeah, they're pretty cool. There's one major new ability.
But you don't have the abilities what did you have? You unlocked. I can't remember what they were called in Breath of the Wild. I got these things where you could in the water you could race ice columns in Breath of the Wild. Though you don't have that shit anymore, do you?
I haven't found it yet.
No, I don't think you have that now. You have
so
all new
mechanics. Yeah, okay. So
I can't remember what they were called in Breath of the Wild.
I don't know. Like if you're going to quiz me on it, but I'm going to fail. Okay, I have no idea what any of this shit is called. But there's loads of new mechanics. One of them is really. At first, it was like one of them's. Let's say it's related to some sort of building. All right, so you have this building mechanic, and I was like, oh fuck, building mechanic, really? But they've done it so well, and it works so well that once you've done it a couple of times, like it's just second nature to do it. And then they have these other things. I'm just going to call them like fuck, I can't even remember what they're called. Like some zoetrope machines or something like that.
The Zoneyes.
Zonite. See, that's great.
Well, I'm watching the video. I remember that.
Right. Okay. Well, see, I wouldn't watch the video because I haven't spoiled any of it. I haven't.
I'm
seen
literally watching
anything.
the introduction as far as
right.
I know.
So, but I haven't done anything like this and watched. So anyway. So there's lots of these new mechanics. There's lots of these new machines in there. I honestly, I have just scratched the surface of this. I was running around. I'm off up into the sky right now. Like I went and met some bird people, and now they've told me that I've got to go do this. Someone pointed me to this section of the map. I spent there's loads of these. I'll tell you where I am. Right, so I'm in the sky, right, trying to get from the ground up into the sky, and I mean freaking miles away. This map, I mean, the verticality and the size of the map is mind-blowing. I'm sure we say this about games every week. Oh my god, it's the biggest map I've ever seen, right? But it's almost like, oh my god, this is the biggest map I've ever seen.
On a Switch.
And I was struggling, using everything in my wheelhouse, building blocks, things to get me up. I was starting fires to get lifts to get me to push over so I could glide here and glide that. And I was taking ages over it, and I had to take a break, and then I went for lunch, came back, and managed to spoon my way through another bit, and then I was getting frustrated, walked away, came back, and managed to finally get over to this other bit. And then, of course, I get there, and I'm like, there has to be an easier way. What am I missing? And then I fucking realized that I hadn't even once delved into the mechanic that I'd got. What a Zelda noob, right? I'd been given a mechanic and completely forgotten that I had it. That was the problem. and this mechanic just basically made me just zip through the whole section. So I could really have just cut out hours of my journey from today. But that being said, that was the journey that I had with that game today, was how can I do this? How can I figure this out? And Zelda always does this. It's very rare that it pushes you to a point in the main storyline and you, in fact, I don't think it ever happens that you don't have the tools already. It hasn't already prepared you somehow to get through that. Now you can go off and grind and get potions and things like that make things easier. Stamina potions, I went off.
Make some chili soup or something.
Right, I'm going through a cold area right now, and so you could get chili soup or whatever, and that will make you warm, and you've got 2 minutes to get through before the chili soup runs off. Whereas I've already been, I effed off somewhere else and sold a load of stuff, and then went to some village and bought cold weather gear. Right, so now I don't have to worry about that. Right? I've got feather caps and shit like that. And
sounds like your Link is more prepared for the conditions than you are in real life.
That's right. He's not. No, there have been a couple of times where he's been pretty cold, and he has done. And I started the game going. See, my son was like exploring all over the place, and I was like, my attitude is I'm going to. Not that it has any relevance to what my son was doing, but I said to myself, I'm going to play this game, and I'm not going to die. I'm going to take it easy, just take my time, whatever. I fucking died loads today. Just kept dying all over the place. There's a whole pile of Link bodies at the bottom of a canyon somewhere after today. There were a couple of points today where I was getting frustrated, and I think obviously I'd made a huge mistake and was not using the mechanic to get through the area, and I was getting frustrated to the point where I was like, I don't think I like this anymore. But once I realized I'd been a complete knobhead, and I started powering through and making progress. Like the game has to make you feel as though you're making progress, otherwise it's frustrating. But there is so much going on. Like if you played the previous one, you know that there was tons of weapon stuff, there's tons of food stuff, cooking. They have another mechanic where you can fuse, so you can fuse items to other items.
This is like the building, basically.
No, this is different.
It's different.
Fusing is the
fusing is different. Yeah, so the
okay,
building is you can
that's
take
Ultra Hand,
objects.
is it? Building is Ultra Hand, is that right?
Ultra Hand, okay, is that what it's called? Yeah, so that's where you can put items together and build
and
things.
craft.
So you bump into this guy. Like one example is you bump into this guy, and he's holding a sign, and he's like, "I can't leave if I leave." And if you get him to let go, the sign falls over, and you failed that, whatever. And then he's back holding this sign again for dear life. And so you suddenly have to use Ultra Hand to find all these little rocks or pieces of wood or whatever and stick them all together and create a framework so that he lets the sign go and it doesn't fall. And then he's like, that's brilliant. And now he puts the sign up and he gives you rewards. And there's probably 100 of him all over the place. So I've done a few of those. And that works really well. Like once you're doing it, once you see one of those guys, you're like, I'll run over there and I'll just zip, zip, zip and build a load of stuff for him and sort that out. But the fusing is different. So the fusing allows you to have a weapon, and then you can fuse that weapon with something nearby. So like I found some steel.
There was definitely one that was in one of their pre-launch videos regarding a bow and arrow.
Could be.
If you saw that. Yeah, it was like.
Well, every time you fire an arrow, you can hit hit a button, and then it allows you to select from your inventory what you're going to fuse to the arrow. So that's a good way of.
There was an eyeball thing that you might want.
That's right. So you can. Oh, that's why my son knew about that then, right? Because you can fuse it. If you kill a Keese and pick up his eyeball, then you can attach the eyeball to the arrow, and it becomes a homing arrow.
Do you control the arrow in first person kind of thing or something?
No,
like
it just sort of just.
Okay.
Well, I've only done it once. And
I've not seen it. I just heard this was one of the first things I heard about the game.
So one of the favorite things I'm doing right now is I found some steel barrels and I fused a steel barrel to the end of one of my swords, and this thing just
steel barrel.
Yeah, it just shreds stuff, and you can like get massive boulders and fuse them to like swords and stuff, and Link's wandering around with like a sword on his back with a massive boulder.
Does that not make it really hard for him to wield the sword though?
He still does it, but the sword becomes basically like a club now. And there's a real difference between clubs, axes.
Do they do like
and swords
in terms of what damage and blunt damage and things like that?
They don't. I don't know if they have that. They all have a level rating. So as you progress, you're looking for weapons that are higher rated, of course. So like I have most of the weapons I'm picking up right now are around 6, 7, 8, that sort of level, maybe 12. But I have a level 24 sword that I found. Oh yeah, I've got a level 24 sword.
24.
Yeah. Well, the reason I have the level 24 sword is because we have all the amiibo cards from last time we did play it. And so every day you can scan the amiibo cards. Yeah, it's cheating. But it's just as if we had the amiibos. And I think I used a couple of those and one of them gave me that sword. Anyway, so I keep my level 24 sword for if I have to beat the crap out of somebody. So
that's still once you've hit that too many times, it still breaks.
Still breaks, yeah. There's still weapon degradation.
Do level 24 swords last longer than a level 2 sword, or is it?
I'm not sure because I haven't really used it much. I'm too scared of it breaking.
You just don't want it to break.
I'm saving it. No, I'm saving it for someone who needs to get who needs a
Oh,
real
here's a
pound.
level 22 enemy that I need to hit with my level 24 sword.
Yeah, so I'm in no hurry to. That's just in my back pocket for when I need it. But yeah, it's more of the same.
But
I
different.
need to be in the right mindset for it. Like, I need to just have so it's perfect. It's sitting there that if I have nothing else to do and I don't want to play anything else, and I've got 2 or 3 hours, I'm going to sit down and just lose myself in it because you can't. I don't think you can pick this game up and just run with it, right? You need to just relax and play it and put hours into it. It is going to be 100+ hour game. There's no doubt about it. Right?
Yeah, if you want to do it proper. Are you playing it handheld or on the TV?
TV. Yeah.
Would you ever pick it up handheld?
Nah, I don't think I'd bother.
Not tempted to
Maybe.
go, oh, I've been playing it on the TV for 2 hours. It's 7:30. I might want to go to bed and play it in bed.
No, because I don't like playing on the Switch. I think it's just better on the TV. I don't know.
If you had
It's
an
just fun.
OLED Switch, it might be better.
Well, maybe Switch to OLED would be what I really want.
Yes. Steam Deck, I think they call that. It's not an OLED, but you know.
Yeah, but it's really good. It's I'll definitely keep playing it, and you know, it's yeah. You want to go hear a lot of detail about it? Go listen to any other podcast. I'm sure right now, and people
I think
really
you've done
wax.
well to talk about it that long without doing major spoilers.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, you haven't played it for that long, but I suppose.
I haven't played it for that long, but I'm really keen on not having things spoiled. Things are, you know, it's yeah.
Well, if you're
I
into this is
nearly
like a magical journey, I guess, isn't it? You want to experience it.
Yeah. I think that the best thing about it is just getting through bits. Like that cracking that today. I mean, it's as much as it sounds like I should have fucking known I had that power. But one, I'm super proud of myself that I got as far into this cloud city as I did, right? You know, with or whatever you want to call it, with just normal means, without using this. I got a long way, and it took me a long time, right? And I was, you know, using 2 to 3 different skills at once and brewing potions and shit to get me. And I was like, I knew, I was like, this isn't right. You know, I am working to a highbrow level here that this can't be right, and it wasn't. So, but a part of me was sort of like proud, one, that I figured it out in the end and finally, and didn't have to resort to somebody telling me how to get through it. But the other part I liked was just the fact that all that happened, right? It still was a pretty neat adventure. And at the same time, it was a lot of working on the mechanics. Like you have to put in some time and get used to the fighting mechanics and get used to your shield blocking and your
So is there like timed parrying and things like that in this?
yeah, there's time parrying, time jumping out of the way, you know, like a target lock on when you're fighting someone. You've got, if you're dropping through the air, you can fire your arrows and they go into slow motion, which is always really cool. And you know, when you're flying as well, there's you have to have the knack on flying and judging well on your climbing and all. There's like so many mechanics.
That stamina and all that nonsense.
Yeah, it's got all the stamina stuff. So you can, but every time you level up with these heart contain, or with not with heart containers, but with these light orbs or whatever they're called now, you can choose to level up your heart container or level up your stamina. Stamina is a big one, I think. Well, it is if you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to do some weird ass parkour for no reason, for no real good reason. But yeah, check it out. It is good if you're into it. But again, like I say, if you haven't played Breath of the Wild, go play Breath of the Wild. But you don't need to play this. Like, if you haven't played Breath of the Wild, you should definitely go play that.
Yeah, I'll probably won't.
Is that cheap now?
No.
No.
You can. There's definitely ways to get it cheaper. Legitimately ways to get it cheaper.
Oh, okay.
You can get
could probably pick
you
it
can
up
get it for free if you
secondhand,
really want to be
right?
like really shit. But you know,
you pick it. It's the thing though.
if you pay it secondhand, it's not going to be cheap.
No, but you pick it up on cartridge. If you're that worried about it, pick it up secondhand on a cartridge, and then flip the cartridge when you're done, right? And you're going to get your money back. You're going to pay. Yeah, you're not going to lose.
No. There's definitely places where you can buy things with voucher codes and all that sort of stuff that you might be able to. Like Curry's were doing a deal. It's not I think you can save a £5 at Curry's on a coupon or whatever at the minute. But there was a time a while back that you could have picked it up like well cheap. Shop 2 is my place to go for things,
You're right.
and that was definitely. Was this what it's like? How I don't know how much you paid, Fraser, over there. It's like, what is it, like 100 Canadian?
Yeah, I think.
So is that
I
like
didn't
70 UK-ish or 60 UK? I don't know. But I've definitely seen it available for in the 40s in the UK, like from an actual shop. So
Right. Yeah, I definitely did not get a great deal. I bought it on a whim and without even thinking about it. I probably could have saved money if I'd looked around. But at the same time, whatever. It's all right. It's all right.
right, glowing endorsement.
Yep. All right. So that's that. That's Zelda. I'm going to have to call it there, boys. I got to get going.
You spoke about Zelda for quite a long time.
Yeah, almost a whole quarter of an hour.
Was it?
Yes.
Felt like longer than that.
Now you know now you know what it's like this side of
That's not when we talk
the
about Wii.
microphone. Okay. Anybody who's doing the chat thanking?
I will talk about thanking the chat. So it's thank you very much for subbing, gifting a sub
thanks,
to Hardy
mate.
Dan. Lord subbed with Prime, thank you very much.
I think gift subs are random, you know.
I don't really know
You
how
can
it
set
works.
it as random, or you can give it to.
It was his first gift sub in the channel. I don't know if it's knows what he was doing either, but you know, he gifted a sub and it was very gratefully received. Hopefully for Hardy Dan. It was in the chat, obviously. Polar Knight's a new follower. Thank you for following. Sorry for not answering you in the chat. It gets a bit busy, and we are recording an audio podcast as well, so I'll try and balance that. Chill Robots, Quaxel, literally Lethius. I think that's all the actual chatters mentioned. Thank you for joining. There are some lurkers. Thanks for lurking.
Lurkers be
Dave?
lurking. Do you want me to sign out?
Yes.
No.
Thank you for listening to the Seal Podcast. If you'd like to ask us questions or get involved, please contact us either on Twitter at Seal Podcast, email us at sealpodcast@gmail.com, or join us on a Discord server. A link is pinned on Twitter. We have YouTube and Twitch channels which we upload and stream to. Neil's done a shout out. That's a wrap, I think.
All right. Okay. Well, look, thanks, gents. Much appreciated. Thank you to all the listeners and everyone. And as usual, we shall catch up with you next week.
See you soon. Thanks for listening.
Cheers, guys.
Etc.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye.